OK, let's move on and talk about Manchester City taking on Southampton this weekend. Let's hear from both managers.
He has this talent, this quality. It's not about to score goals. It's, oh my God, all the time is deflection across. Is the finish where this type of players are. That's why it's always surprised. How can as a man I teach him? It's impossible. It's just completely instinct. It's natural. And I said many times recently, he did it in Norway, in Austria, in Germany. He's doing here. You don't have to say anything.
We have had 3 very tight games. The last 3 we lost with 1 goal difference, and I think especially in the last one we had a much higher chance of winning than the opponent, but we didn't do it. And this is what we have to learn. And I think we see that the progress is there. But the Premier League is tough. We know this. We are going there, and you can be sure that we are not scared when we go to Man City. And this phase we want to see, and we want to show a brave team, and finally, hopefully, a successful one.
Well, last season, you might remember that Manchester City failed to beat Southampton in both of their Premier League matches. But how much more will that make Pep want to beat them this time, Tim?
Well, I think Pep's so demanding. He always wants to win every football match. You know, we see him. He's never satisfied, even when they win the Manchester derby so convincingly. He wasn't happy with conceding 3 goals. Obviously, we're going to move on to Erling Haaland, which is a phenomenon. Sam will tell us a lot more about him. He sees him every single week, but the kid is incredible. De Bruyne will come back into that team. He rested in the Champions League. I mean, they're just unstoppable. I mean, Ralph Hasenhuttl has always found a result when he most needs it. He needs a result now, but one team you do not want to play is Man City, unfortunately.
That's the thing, though, this season, isn't it, Sam, is that with Erling Haaland in this Manchester City team, if he starts, you just assume they're going to win every single game. Is this the most effective you've ever seen City? And you cover them every week, as Tim said.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they won the title last season, holding off Liverpool all the way, like they did 3 years ago. And they've been really effective teams. I think the 17-18 team, when they got 100 points, they were really, effective, potent. Aguero, Sane, Sterling. There's loads of City fans who still love that version of them. But now, I mean, because Haaland's just so different. He's such a threat. And like we saw with Palace going 2-0 up, they were 2-0 up at half-time. And you think, OK, well, we'll just sit back and try and hold on to this. But the more you sit back, the more City are going to create chances. And then if you're creating chances for this guy, you've got no chance, really. There can be a half chance, not even that, and he's just going to put it away. They know all the moves. That goal there, De Bruyne was central. He could have had a shot, really, but he knew to go to Gomez out wide because he knew Gomez would put the ball back in. And Haaland would be there. So they make the right decisions. So, yeah, last season there was 2 draws in the league against Southampton. City really struggled against them in both games. And, maybe they struggle again tomorrow. But eventually, you can just see him scoring. Yeah. And, I mean, even if it's not eventually, if they fly out of the traps. Yeah. I'm reluctant to say this because last time I was on, City had Villa the next day. And he just scored his 2 hat-tricks in a row. And you think he's going to get another one. And he didn't. He got the one that City drew. So I'm reluctant to say he's going to get another hat-trick, but it wouldn't be a surprise at all, would it? And he might even get one in the first half. Yeah. Like if City turn up in there in the mood, like you say, De Bruyne didn't play in the week, Foden didn't play in the week, they're going to come back in. Grealish has got a bit of rhythm now as well. They all seem to be ticking. Gundogan's in fantastic form. Bernardo Silva's in fantastic form. They've got a lot of defenders coming in. If they do hit the straps early, then it could be.
It's like Ralph's not listening.
Yeah. Well, he's going to know, though, isn't he?
I mean, he's got nothing to lose. But in previous years, they've got behind the ball, they've frustrated them, like many teams have done. But now City are different because they score the first goal, because Haaland scores the first goal for them. You don't have to play well and open up the team to get score. It's a half chance and he scores. Then the opposition has to change their tact. They have to come out, they have to open up the game and chase it. And that's when the space for De Bruyne and Foden, Gundogan. I mean, it's incredible what they've got. The riches they have at the moment is just absolutely incredible. They left everyone behind.
Haaland became the first ever player to score 3 consecutive home Premier League hat-tricks. So he's going for a 4th. He continues to break records. We saw the amount of goals he scored already in these Premier League matches, 14. He's already 9 off last year's Golden Boot winning tally. Is he incomparable? Is there almost no words left to use to describe him?
Yeah, I think to be up there with the Shearers of this world and all that, he has to continue to do it, and he knows that. Consistency. I played against his father, and his father had one of the best attitudes, but he lacked a little bit of ability. But his son, Erland, has got the ability and he's got the same attitude. So it's a very great, it's a wonderful combination to have, and it's almost unstoppable in my eyes.
He looks after himself unbelievably.
I was going to ask, does he have a weakness?
Not really. I mean, the thing that everybody knew the City would work with him on is that link-up play, you know, as the kind of false nine stuff where you're dropping off. And that's probably the area of his game that's weakest. But he's still really good at it. He's still effective with it.
Sam.
Yeah, exactly.
He's telling him stay, I mean, all the time, he's continually, if he tries to come and get involved in the play, he's telling him to stay up the field, occupy the two centre-backs, take them back, create that space for the Fodens and the Grealishes and the De Bruynes, and they can operate in tight situations anyway. And I mean, Kevin De Bruyne's stats are already up on his assists last year. It's not because he's not putting the ball in. He's doing exactly the same job, but he's got someone now who puts it in the back of the net.
Yeah. Do you think we'll see the best of Phil Foden this year because he's playing with Haaland?
I think in terms of eye-catching, that's the thing. Because last season he was really good, but he was playing that false nine job, and it's hard. You know, when you're a little midfield player and, you know, you can get in the box, but
I love that goal.
It's really packed. Yeah, he scores goals. He's really good at manoeuvring his body at the near post. Even if he's slightly out of the frame of the goal, he can manoeuvre his body to get it back in. That goal's even better, I think, because he's obviously weighed up in his head. I can get a hat-trick here against United at home. And earlier in his career, I think you've seen chances trying to flash through his head and he's made a mess of them, but that one was perfect. Yeah. But yeah, when he was playing false nine, you can get crowded out. It's a difficult job. And I think Guardiola would have said, you were brilliant today. But the fans go home thinking, what's going on with Foden? He's not beating players. He's not scoring goals. But now he's going to be back on the wing, whether it's the left or the right. There are going to be crosses going into the box that Haaland might not get to. He can follow up on. So I think Grealish will score more as well. And it is just going to bring the best out of everyone, because Haaland's there to put the ball in the net primarily, and the rest are going to have that space to thrive in. And they're so good. We will still start talking again about Foden, you know, being this generational talent.
And then Grealish is going to come into that conversation. You're absolutely right. He's found a little bit of form in the Manchester derby. He was great the other night against Copenhagen. He will continue to play him. I mean, Pep is very stubborn. And when people ask questions about his signings, he continues to play him. And he was saying to Jack, show everyone what you can do. And once his numbers start picking up as well, I mean, it's frightening.
At the other end of the pitch as well, they've been decent defensively. What about the signing of Akanji? He went completely under the radar. How impressed have you been with him?
Yeah, completely under the radar. Nobody knew they were in the market for a centre-back, but they were a bit worried about the depth and all of this. And then the first thing fortunately, the Athletic, if I can give us a plug, we were like, OK, so you're going to sign this guy. So we found out about it slightly earlier than everybody else, but it was still very late. And the first thing I'd heard about him was Dortmund were really desperate to get rid of him. Yeah. But it's because he'd made a few mistakes and he said he wasn't going to sign a new contract. So you think, OK, what are City getting into here? Are they going to have too many options at the back? Players start to get unhappy because they're not playing. But he's come in and he's been great. He looks like company. People were saying during the derby, he looks like company, doesn't he? But obviously, because he's a generation on, he's better with the ball at his feet as well, because obviously now young players are taught to play with that. So he's been really impressive. Kept Diaz out of the team last week, but Diaz came back in midweek. Laporte's back in from injury as well. Ake's been really good when he's come in, and even though Stones is out, doesn't matter.
Seems ridiculous, isn't it?
Yeah. I know, we listened to the I mean, we're talking about they couldn't cope without Diaz before. Yeah. You know, when Laporte got injured a couple of seasons ago, they couldn't cope with. I mean, they can cope with anyone missing. Whoever it is, even if it's Erling Haaland in the Premier League, they've showed that they can win the Premier League without a centre forward. This guy's going to help them win it again, and he's going to help them win the Champions League, in my eyes.
Well, despite everything we're saying about Man City there, it's actually Arsenal who are top of the Premier League table, and we're going to be focusing on their match at the Emirates next as they take on Liverpool. We'll be hearing from Mikel Arteta and Jurgen Klopp after this break.